Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my question without notice is to the Minister for Environment and Energy. Minister, given that coal-fired power stations in New South Wales produce up to an estimated 8 million tonnes of coal ash every year, yet typically repurpose less than 30% of it, will you act to have power companies maximise the beneficial reuse of this material and reduce the impact of storing this toxic waste?
Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr Speaker. What a great question from a great member. And in fact, he's the best member that Lake Macquarie's ever had. He's also the first non-Labor member that they've ever had, Mr Speaker. So is it any coincidence? And, you know, that's a sensible question. That's a very sensible question. So, Mr Speaker,
Order!
well, no, on this occasion he gave it to me. But, Mr Speaker, what I will say is that I know it's an issue very close to the heart of the member for Lake Macquarie because the Eraring Power Station is in his electorate, and I also know that the member for Swansea is very interested in this issue as well because of the Vales Point Power Station. And as the member for Lake Macquarie correctly points out, these power stations do create a large amount of coal ash. So according to the 2016 data from the Ash Development Association of Australia, around 5.65 million tonnes of coal ash are produced in New South Wales annually. Coal ash is the fly ash and bottom ash, sometimes called coal combustion products, generated from the burning of coal for electricity generation. In a recent ABC article from earlier this year, it was noted that 500 kilograms of coal ash generated each year per person in Australia. So that's 500 kilograms generated per person in Australia. So that's a huge amount of waste that's created. So this is one of Australia's biggest waste problems and accounts for nearly 1/5 of Australia's waste stream. But the good news is that coal ash can be reused, and the reuse of coal ash for beneficial purposes is regulated by the EPA in New South Wales via the Coal Ash Order 2014, issued under the Protection of the Environment Operations Waste Regulation 2014. Now, for the benefit of the House, coal ash is reused primarily by the cement industry, but is also used in engineering fill material. During 2018-19, approximately 21% of ash generated from Vales Point and approximately 35% of ash generated from Eraring was recycled. But these rates are well below international best practice. In fact, they're well below the world average. Mr Speaker, the world average is around 44% of ash being recycled. Australia's utilisation of coal ash is one of the worst in the world and certainly compares unfavourably to India, who reuse about 61%, China, who reuse about 69%, the UK 70%, and Japan 97%. We can and we must do better. Coal ash can act as a partial substitute for cement. In fact, evidence suggests that coal ash makes the concrete technically better and reduces the amount of cement that's used in concrete. And that's not only good from a resource reuse perspective, it's also good because we know that cement is one of the largest producers of carbon emissions. So if we can do anything to reduce carbon emissions, that's a good thing, Mr Speaker. So the regulatory framework that the EPA oversees is obviously robust, and it outlines the uses and conditions for its reuse, noting that there are some dangerous elements in the coal ash that we don't want to see being put into our natural environment. So, Mr Speaker, the Coal Ash Order in 2014 sets limits for metals that are consistent with levels that occur naturally in our environment. Without undermining this robust regulatory framework, I want to echo the member for Lake Macquarie when I say that I want to see as much coal ash reused as possible. So we're currently developing our 20-year waste strategy, and this strategy is looking at how we can reduce, reuse and recycle a number of different waste products. So I want to commit today to the member for Lake Macquarie and to the House that will include coal ash in the scope of the work that we're doing and ensure that we have a policy in place to increase the required reuse of coal ash going forward. As part of this work, I will look at the development of reuse industries in New South Wales, including in your electorate of Lake Macquarie and Swansea, once we speak to the members, but obviously we want to encourage the reuse of a whole range of waste products right across New South Wales. And we'll look at reusing coal ash in bricks, construction blocks and lightweight aggregate. If players like the cement industry won't jump on board and do the right thing, then we'll obviously look at measures to require them to do so. But we want to work with industry to get the right result. Mr Speaker, I was disturbed to hear recently that in Queensland, the ACCC fined the cement industry $20 million for restricting the supply of coal ash. And for the benefit of the House, the cement industry has a direct contract with the power stations, and it restricts the use of that supply going to other industries and other businesses who may want to find a beneficial reuse of that product. So we need to open that up, Mr Speaker. I don't think it's good enough that they're restricting competition, Mr Speaker. I think that we should encourage the cement industry.
Member for Lake Macquarie. Minister has 2 extra minutes if he wishes it.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I was just going to say that I don't think it's good enough that the cement industry is restricting the ability for other industries to potentially find innovative ways to use this product. We want to open that up. We want to see a circular economy when it comes to coal ash, but we also don't want to put unnecessary costs into the marketplace. Mr Speaker, we want to see power stations do the right thing and help us beneficially reuse this product so that we can protect the environment and ensure that the government does not have to directly step in. So in summary, for the benefit of the member for Lake Macquarie, understand that coal ash is a big issue. We don't want to see it seeping out into the natural environment. We have strict regulations in place administered by the EPA. We want to ensure that they're enforced, but we also want to encourage the reuse of this product. It does have a beneficial reuse, particularly when it comes to cement, not just because it gives a better quality of cement, but also because it will help us reduce our carbon emissions that are created by cement. In fact, cement production is the 2nd highest generator of carbon emissions, so if we reduce that, that will obviously also have a beneficial impact on the economy. But I look forward to working with the member for Lake Macquarie and other members in the House interested in our 20-year waste strategy to increase the rate of recycling, reuse of products and waste in New South Wales.